everything going on with the decoupling bill, up in Tallahassee. And I listened to the coverage and listened to everyone who spoke. And there were, 20 people who spoke. It was great. And they were all against the decoupling. But I thought your specific testimony was most compelling because you were speaking from the heart and speaking about, what, as a Floridian and as somebody who owns property and runs a training facility and employs, hundreds of people and all the things that make you who you are, it's because of Florida racing and the potential for decoupling, could in essence not only kill racing in Florida, but the breeding program in Florida. What are you seeing as far as the decoupling bill and how it's playing out in front of us?
Well, John, it's even more than that. I think if Florida were to go down, it would destroy all of racing. You have to realize, everybody realize we're down from November till April. Mm-hmm. There's no turf racing in the North.
Right.
We have some in New Orleans, and anybody that's been stable in New Orleans knows that half the time the races don't stay because they get wet weather. So if we were to lose Florida, and quality racing, I think it would destroy the entire ecosystem of horse racing. It would devastate it. As I'm testifying again tomorrow. Not only am I having trained horses, but I'm also become a politician. I met with the governor, and he laughed. I told him, I said, I've been training horses for 47 years and been in politics for 30 days. I'm not sure how you do it, but it's frustrating. I feel like we're winning. I think, we're battling the battle and but ultimately nothing stays the same. We're going to have to negotiate and work. This has been kind of thrown on us, at least on me, rather quickly. But we got a great group of people, including yourself, that have worked night and day to work on this. And we're winners, and we're not going to lose.
Right.
Yep. Love that.
Yep.
Yeah. And just to can you expound on that point for people who may not be as familiar with how integral Florida racing, when you said it'll destroy the entire ecosystem, can you just explain that?
Well, I mean, I don't have the exact numbers, but just think about, what if your turf horses are worthless from November to April? Turf racing has become so big, and just think, you couldn't even, if you had nowhere to run them, that in itself. So now what happens is you devaluate your horse. They're suggesting the latest bill suggests that Gulfstream runs 40 days a year. Last year they ran 200. So if a horse runs about every 3 to 4 weeks, they run for 40 days. You're talking about maybe getting 2 starts in a horse, 3 if you were real lucky. Well, now when you start reducing the horse's potential by 80% to earn money, what happens? They're now not worth as much. And so it devalues, not only does, whenever you hurt the potential, earning potentials, you also hurt the value of the horse, and it will just spiral out of control.
Right. And what's been great, Joe, and you and I have spoken about it on and off the air, is that in an industry that is very fractured and everyone is worried about their own fiefdom for the most part, this has been a lightning rod, a rallying cry for the entire industry. And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been really pleasantly surprised with the organizations and individuals that have backed our initiative, ranging from farms in Kentucky to trainers and owners in Florida to national horse associations, and everything in between. Really, the only people that aren't behind our our side of the ledger is First Racing. But really, everybody else has kind of rallied behind us. And a good way to show that you're in support of what we're trying to accomplish. Mark, is going to be on the bus, I believe, leaving at OBS on Tuesday. We're paying for a bus and for some vittles as well. You can go to Tallahassee for the meal and stay for the show. And even if you don't want to talk and you don't feel comfortable speaking before a Senate group, which I understand, you can just go and show your support by being there and just letting everyone in Tallahassee understand exactly how this is impacting your business and our industry. So the bus leaves OBS at 11:30, and there's also a bus that is free leaving from Tampa Bay at 9 a.m. If you go to our website, thoroughbredracinginitiative.com, you can see the information. If you go to the OBS website, they'll show you the information as well. But basically, let our senators know that we're united against decoupling.
You can actually go in, sign in, and when they come to your name, you can say you're against the bill. And that's all you have. You don't really, that's important. Now, if you want to get up and speak, you're allowed to, but they'll come to you and you say you oppose the bill. And so the more people there, it was interesting in the House. We went in front of the House committee and the room was filled, and we had our hearing, and the head of the House committee said, okay, we're done with that. We have 2 more committees. Everybody got up, and there was like 5 people there afterwards. That just shows you how many. And I think there'll be more tomorrow. Yeah. Speaking of, you were saying, Jon, about how many people have come to us now, and it's amazing. This initiative has done something that I've never seen before in my 50 years and that's bring everybody for one common goal. And I think what I remember watching Pearl Harbor, and the Japanese were celebrating after, Pearl Harbor, and the general said, we've just woke a sleeping lion.
Yeah. Yep.
We're the sleeping lion.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome. I think that's a great note to end on. Mark, you're such a great advocate for the industry and the stakeholders within it. I can't think of anybody better to lead this fight. And I'm so happy that we're going to see each other in less than 5 weeks with a chance to win the Kentucky Derby. Mark, thanks so much for the time, brother. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Always.